the FBI has launched a full-scale purge of supporters of Donald Trump. That would be Joe Biden's likely opponent in the coming presidential election.
Well, the truth is that a few days ago, a political reporter called several people and said, hey, have you heard or have you been served yet? The FBI is going to be serving 50 approximately search warrants and or subpoenas on Trump supporters. And these subpoenas are extremely broad. They're from the Capitol Siege section of the United States Department of Justice's DC office. And they ask for broad categories of documents. They ask for all communications dating from a month before the election until 2 months after the election. And they ask for all communications regarding dozens of people. And the categories are alternate electors, fundraising around irregularities around the election, and also a rally that happened before the January 6th situation at the Capitol. So the Save America rally that happened. And so basically, most of this activity, if not all of it, is protected by the First Amendment. And the United States Department of Justice is telling reporters about these search warrants and subpoenas before they're executed. There's no other explanation for this. And I think the reason for this is to instill fear into Donald Trump supporters.
Lisa Gallagher, as we told you a moment ago, is one of the many Trump supporters who woke up to an FBI raid earlier this month. And we are grateful that she's willing to join us to tell us about it. Lisa, thank you so much for coming on. So I just want to be clear that you have not committed a crime of any kind. I don't think you've ever been accused of a crime. You weren't even at the Capitol on January 6th. I don't think you're even in Washington. Tell us how you felt when Joe Biden's FBI showed up with guns at your home the morning after his speech.
I was terrified. And I'll be honest with you, when my daughter woke me up telling me there were 3 armed FBI officers at my door, I thought she was joking. And I immediately tried to throw clothes on. I called my husband. I was crying. My knees were shaking. And even though I knew I'd done nothing wrong, after seeing Joe Biden's speech the night before, I thought, oh my God, this is political.
All right, time to call Mom. See what Mom has to say about the FBI.
Hello?
The FBI come to your door, Mom?
Not yet. I'm waiting.
Look at you. Boom. Boom. in the comment section, people. Mom is always in the comment section, and on Wednesday, she's in 2 places at once. So you're waiting? You're waiting for the knock? Hello, hippy dippy Cali girl.
Knock. I'm not at home if they knock.
You'll send your daughter to the door. Go answer the door. Tell them I'm not here. Yeah.
She'd know how to handle them.
You have your buffer.
Be very afraid if my daughter answers the door.
All right. What do I say? So I love Tucker Carlson. I know you're a Sean Hannity fan.
No, I'm not.
You used to be.
Used to be.
Oh, do tell.
Past tense.
Do tell.
Oh, what do you want me to tell?
Well, what happened to you were all Sean Hannity. I've been Tucker since he took over since before he took over for Bill Riley, right? He filled Bill Riley's slot when Bill Riley got canceled. But I was watching him before Bill Riley. But Hannity was always after Bill Riley, and so he's still there. What we'll get to this topic here in a second, everybody, but I'm just probing my mom, getting some information out of her. You were all up on Sean Hannity. What has soured you to Sean Hannity?
Well, I don't know. Sean Hannity to me is a little more, I don't know. He's a little more, okay, I'm going to judge the man. Here we go. He's not, I don't know, he's not as on point and intellectual. I don't know, it just seemed like more of it started to come across as just cheap shots rather than the facts. Just give me the facts. You know, don't go into all this emotional garbage. We've got enough of that. And I've always watched Tucker, right from the start, and Tucker, Hannity, and Bill Riley when he was on. But there's just something about Sean that does not appeal to me.
He did for a while, and then it kind of.
Well, in the beginning, he did. He seemed to be a little bit like Tucker, but Tucker seems to always be right on point. He comes up with the facts and shows us the evidence to back it up. Where Sean is a little more of an emotional appeal to those who like that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way I can explain it. Maybe it's just a personality difference. I don't know, but Tucker's the one that I watch. I watch any of them.
That's good to hear. This is news to me, because you and I doing this conversing back and forth like this for a long time. That was still in my mind. But everything you say is pretty much my take on it as well. Sean, bless his heart, he's more of a pontificator, and some people like that, but like you're saying, it doesn't quite have that intellectual edge, and that is for people like you and me who like to think we're fairly intelligent. We want to be challenged, right? We can hear and see truth and cutting truth and appreciate what Tucker will say himself. He'll say, I am not a journalist, when he says that, because he is just a face on a screen commentating. But what he doesn't mention is he's got a whole staff of journalists, right? So it's well researched. What he does has been verified, guaranteed. So his team are a team of journalists. For him to say, I am not a journalist, it's like, okay, but what you're saying has been vetted and we can rely upon it. And he's just got a real sharp spin. I mean, he's got good producers, and that's something about Sean Hannity as well. There's a team there that are, he's having input on the scripts that he's writing. This is what I do for a living. I work in this industry, so I know what's going on. I know that it's all pre-scripted. They got a team drafting it up, and Tucker and Sean will look over the scripts and make changes. They'll have input, and they'll say, hey, let's cover this topic. And I bet Tucker and maybe Sean do a bunch of the writing themselves, but they're running the show, but they got a whole team that is looking into stuff.
It's like Tucker has the X factor. That's the way I look at it. Tucker's got the X factor, and when I listen to him, it's clear, and I'm not left with a whole bunch of dangling questions. Do I have to do more research or any of that kind of thing? It's just that Tucker puts it right out there, and when he's done, I feel like it's clear. I understand it. And if I don't understand it, I know what to do about it. But I don't know. Sean just sort of leaves me in this fog, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. So this Harmeet Dillon, he had the clip we watched. He has her on all the time, and she is like really, really sharp and really in the middle of this. She's a lawyer. And she's like dealing with political entities, people that are being attacked by the government, right? Her own clients are being attacked illegally by the government, who's supposed to enforce the law. And so Tucker is like, there was an era of Walter Cronkite, right? There was that one guy that everybody saw as the one voice that you could rely upon. And Tucker is that right now. And it doesn't matter what network he's on. He is the loudest, biggest voice. And if they attack him, it's, if they take him down, if they invade his house, if they throw him into jail, ooh, that'll be like throwing.
Well, and you mentioned Walter Cronkite, and I just want to add, it's my generation that comes from the Walter Cronkite days. Okay, when we got news, there was a time when we got news.
Yeah.
None of all of these games were being played then. You could watch the news, you got the news, and Tucker embodies that. And that's probably why, I appeal more to Tucker than I would Sean. Sean comes across as he sort of represents how things began to transition into just this drama that we get now.
We can stop picking on Sean now.
Maybe Sean's going to knock on my door. I don't know.
Speaking of knocking on doors, getting back to the subject at hand. So, what's your take on these targeted invasions? I mean, I know you've been following it. So there's a guy, Steve Bannon, who mentioned there were like 35 high-level allies, is the way it's referred to. 35 high-level allies of the Trump administration, of Donald Trump, were targeted. And then when Tucker covered this story, because Tucker covered it after Steve Bannon talked about it, and those are two corroborating sources. And Tucker said as many as 50 search warrants, or upwards of 50, and even Harmeet was saying that's around the number. And so, give me your general take on what's happening and why it's happening. Why are these high-level allies of Trump being targeted by our legal institutions, the federal FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation? Why are they showing up at these people's doors, Mom?
Well, look, it depends on how you decide to look at this. And the way I see it is, if you have a government in a country, and we're talking about America now, if you have a government and the leadership of that government is beginning to use the tactics that they are using at their level, they're using it at their level, high profile people, government people, and now it's starting to filter on down into the general public. If you keep that kind of government in leadership, then it will obviously filter on, these tactics will filter on down. It's the trickle effect. These tactics will come to you and me as long as you have leadership in your government that's behaving in this fashion. That's just a fact. So something better change.
So, but why are they doing it? That's my next one. I'm going to follow up on what you just said, but why is this
Why
happening?
are they doing it? There's an election coming. Why are they doing it? It's intimidation.
No.
It's intimidation. They're weaponizing the legal system to intimidate. It's weaponizing the whole political system.
So we have a midterm in about 60 days. And
that's why it's happening. November's coming, and I've told you that before. The closer we get, the worse it's going to get, and here it comes.
And will it be effective? Is the follow-up question. Will it have the desired effect? What's their desire, and will it have that effect?
Well, their desire is to stay in office.
Well, yes, but what the intimidation? It's obviously to scare people from going out and voting, basically, or voting a certain way.
Scare people from going out and voting. The only other choice we have, is the other party. And even myself, I begin to wonder about the other party. The other party isn't even standing up and defending against any of this. Name one person. I can't think of one person. Who in the Republican Party is out there defending all of this? Where's Mitch McConnell?
Mm-hmm.
Silent. That should be worrisome to the American people. That should be worrisome.
You think he just doesn't want them coming to his door? That's why he's being quiet? It's like, leave me alone. Okay.
I haven't given that a lot of thought, why he's silent, but that should be worrisome. We should be looking at the fact that the party that should be putting us and leading us back on track is silent. And it goes right back to the fact that Congress, everyone in Congress knew that Joe Biden was not competent for this office. Everybody. It's Congress who has the power to remove an incompetent leader. They have done nothing. They have done nothing. They have all been silent. That should worry the American people. Why? Why is that? Why is the Congress of the United States, who knows we have a leader who is not competent, why have they done nothing? That should worry the American people.
but they're worried, right? That's why the FBI is doing this. Is desperation.
If they're worried, then why are they doing nothing?
No, what I'm saying is the administration is worried. So why are they doing this? Why are they invading the political opponent, right? The coming political opponent. Like everybody blamed Trump for targeting, like when he got on that phone call with Zelensky back there, congratulating Zelensky when he won. And then he says, oh, by the way, we hear there's some nefarious things that happened with our previous vice president. Joe Biden used to be our vice president. And can you look into that? He says it in the phone call to Zelensky. Can you look into what Biden was doing in Ukraine? And everybody got up in arms. It's like, he's attacking a political opponent. Problem is, Biden hadn't started running for president yet. He hadn't even declared yet. You're attacking the political opponent. That is coercion. That's using the government for politics. You're attacking your political opponent. That was the argument used, but it was like, he wasn't the political opponent. Here, it is very clear that Trump is Biden's political opponent. And now Biden is doing exactly what they were accusing Trump of doing, is they're targeting for political reasons, their political opponent, using all of the institutions of the government, the FBI, the IRS, the Department of Justice. So, but they're doing it right now before this midterm because they already see the writing on the wall that there's this wave coming, that the House is going to change hands and that investigations will start. And as you were just saying, an incompetent president, right? And he's just incapable. Right. He is cognitively impaired. He's incapable of running anything. He's incapable of running, like organizing his shoe closet, much less running a nation. And there are 8 articles of impeachment already submitted in the Congress, so that when it switches hands, the removal of that incompetent leader, as you were saying, is coming. That's why they're doing this. It's a last-ditch desperation effort. It's actually a good sign what they're doing. It's horrible for those people that it happens to, but it's too little too late. And that's why I was asking you, do you think it will be effective? It's too little too late. They would have to have 1 million FBI agents all through the nation doing this to 1 million Trump supporters, and they don't have those resources. It's too little. 50 invasions of Trump high-level officials is not enough to stop what's coming, and it's absolute desperation. And there's going to be something more, right? Something more is going to come in the next 60 days. I don't know what it is, but we just have. It's going to be a very interesting news cycle right now that we're at the front edge of it. Just the closer to the midterms we get, it's just going to be crazy stuff happening from the top down. And I think those people who are silent, those people who are silent about it will start realizing that their silence is a liability for their own political future, right? Those tables.
Too little, too late.
Too little, too late. Well, who's this? Chipper31. Hi, Michael and Bonnie. Hello, Chipper31. Welcome aboard. Welcome to the chat session. By the way, hello, everyone. Welcome to the chat session. We're already almost 20 minutes in. So.
By the way, I watched the movie last night.
What?
I watched the movie.
The movie?
My Son Hunter.
You saw it?
Yeah, I saw it. Vanessa got it for me.
Are you kidding? It was a surprise, or you asked her to?
Well, I told her about the movie. She said, well, I can get that for you, because I tried to get it and I couldn't get it. And she said, well, I'll get it for you. She got it. I watched it. It's about an hour and a half.
All right, here we go. Starting right now. Hold on. All right, so producer, mark this. Here is Miracle Mom's review of the brand new film, My Son Hunter. Produced by Phelim. I know the guys. I know the producer, and I know the screenwriter is my personal friend. All right, here is Miracle Mom's movie review, My Son Hunter. Ready? Mark the in point right here. Ready? Go, Mom.
Did you just want my raw review?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, some of this review, I wish I had the words in terms of movie production, for one thing. Number one, I don't know any of these actors or people who were in this movie, but they were terrible. It was terrible. The script was terrible. The it was all terrible. It gave me the feeling of being, cheesy and cheap. And every now and then, some truthful facts are inserted. That is true. There is some truth in there. But I felt like this was like another Hollywood B- attempt. And it really is only serving the purpose of smearing and more political drama and all that sort of thing. It really was disgusting. I felt it was disgusting because if you just take the factual pieces that were inserted out of it, nobody would go to this movie. Nobody. I felt bad. I felt bad for Hunter. I come from a place in my life when I too was caught in the grips of addiction. Okay, so I can relate to that, and I felt the way they portrayed Hunter. You have to come away and say, this guy's sicker than most. He's not ever going to make it. But so from that, I felt bad for Hunter. I'm not dismissing all of the crimes that were involved. I'm not doing that. But I really felt bad for Hunter.
Then the movie served its purpose, right? That is what we're supposed to feel. We're supposed to feel bad that this kid was so abused by his father, that he was so mistreated and so raised so improperly that he resorted to all these things. You're supposed to. All right. So, and this is all insider stuff. So
it came away making me feel more disgusted toward Joe Biden.
Right. And that, okay. So you gave it a B-, which is actually good, right? A B- is just above rotten in Rotten Tomatoes, right? In the Rotten Tomatoes ratings, B- is like a 70% or something, right? Or not, well, in school, 70% is a C, but a B- is around a 60 to a 65 in Rotten Tomatoes, which is good enough. It's not rotten. So let me tell you just some insider stuff. My friend was hired to write the script. He wrote a satire and wouldn't let me read it.
No, Brian?
Yeah, Brian. And satire is his forte. It's his best writing, other than his theological, analytical theological writing. He's a brilliant theologian as well. And writes extensively on a lot of topics. And that's my favorite writing of his. And he's hired me to give him notes on scripts and novels and stuff that he's written. He's paid me a little bit. And I've done some of it for free just because he's my friend. But on this one, he wrote it and then was very frustrated with what the final product. So they didn't, you pick a director, you have a writer and a director. If the director is not the writer, it's not going to turn out the way it was written, right? The director is the final say. He's going to change it. He's going to keep what he likes and he's going to throw out what he doesn't like. And if there's things that he misunderstands, it's just going to come across that way. And so my writer friend, and I may get in trouble for saying this, but he was not, he wasn't happy with the final product. And I know the producer, and again, this is one of those rush jobs. If you've got a certain amount of financing and you get people attached, you got to get this thing out. You got to get it done. And I'll tell you what, Mom, here's a secret, a Hollywood secret. I work in the business. Here's a Hollywood secret. Most movies are terrible. Most movies lose.
Oh, I know that.
Most movies lose money. Literally, the vast majority of films made, I'm like 90-something% of movies that are made lose money. It's those very few at the very top that make all the money that keep the business going. All right. And so let me just say this, the trailer for the Hunter, My Son Hunter, that movie is the best part of it. The trailer is, I watched the trailer. I'm like, oh, that's, you're getting straight to the heart. All you need to do is watch the trailer. I'm not going to say that.
Do not be deceived.
Okay, maybe we won't subclip that out and make it a commercial for My Son Hunter. But thank you. your honesty, I'm glad you got that review. I got to watch it. I have to watch this. My friend wrote it and produced it, so I have to support him. And he has to, he couldn't say these things honestly. I'm saying it for him, but he would say them, or he will later on afterwards. And he was even, and here's the thing I'll say, he was really disappointed with Gina Carano.
Oh yeah.
So that's the big name that they, the conservatives like. Oh, it's Gina Carano, who was fired by Disney. She's fired by Disney, and then Ben Shapiro hired her to make a movie, and then now she's doing this. She's not the main character. She's got a supporting character in this movie, and he was disappointed with her performance. And anyway, I can't believe
if
you
I was
brought.
to sum it up in one word, I would call it cheesy. Cheesy's the word.
It's low budget, and it's not an established director. It's actually an actor.
I know.
It's a recognizable actor who was tapped to direct, which is just because the guy has a name or some recognition. It's like you have to make those decisions if you want to get your movie made. Sometimes you're behind the scenes and you're like, "Ooh, it isn't going to turn out the way I wanted it to turn out," but at least it's getting made. And it's sad to have that as a commentary, but that's the case with so many movies. It's like, ooh, this is not what it was supposed to be, but at least it's getting made. At least you're making a paycheck. And that's what I say. My wife watches all kinds of content, and I'll be like, my running joke with her is like, well, at least they have a job. At least those actors have jobs. At least those writers have jobs. Somebody's paying them to make this awful schlock. So
well, that's one way to look at it, but
seriously,
I don't know. It was just disgusting on many levels.
Right. And, and there is that exploitation of the grossest stuff, because the fact of the matter is that's the reality. They weren't making stuff up. And that's the thing. No matter how poorly it's done, no matter how poorly it's made, these are Brian Godawa, my writer friend, just took the facts and put them in a creative way. But these are the details of what really happened. These are really said, probably a little embellishment here and there, but for the most part, what you're watching is documented. And so maybe someday he'll make his version.
There's an expression from Frederick Douglass, who I don't know who he is, but anyway, I saw his comment. And, I'm watching this and I'm thinking about Hunter, and I'm thinking about his dad, Joe. And Frederick Douglass says this: it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Frederick Douglass may have been a former slave, or at least he's
something like that.
He's like an iconic hero that should have statues of him everywhere. So it's.
But if I was ever to meet Joe Biden, that's what I'd say to him probably.
Repeat the quote.
It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men.
Yeah, and we're looking at a broken man, and it's and this broken man, this Hunter guy, is the undoing of the Biden administration. I look at God's divine hand. Since God is actually in control, everything has meaning. And for a total strung out, drug addicted, corrupt, business dealing, being used by his father, selling his father's influence, by doing that, by being that person. God's like, all right, we're going to accumulate all of this incriminating evidence right here on your laptop. Right? We're going to put it all here on your laptop, and you're going to have a problem with your laptop.
2 laptops.
Yep. And here you go, Hunter. You're going to have a problem with this laptop, and then you're going to hand it over to the good guys. You're just going to hand it all over. Here you go. And I'm not kidding about that. That is what God did.
That's right.
That's what God did. And now it's like, oh, thank you, Lord. It's God is in control. It's not, oops, I left my laptop. It's God giving Hunter the haze, the drug-induced haze, giving him over like he did to Pharaoh, like hardened Pharaoh's heart. He gave Hunter over to this drug-induced coma, and he totally forgot he left a laptop over there. Or he thought somebody's going to take care of it. I don't know. I've got too much going on. I got to find another hooker, and I got to find some more crack. And because of that, God gave him over to that. God said, okay, I got everything. We got everything we need over here. And that's the foundation of all of the investigations that are coming in January. That laptop.
Right.
So, well, Mom, we are down to 20 seconds. I'll let you say a few things before we sign off.
Oh, I think I've probably said enough, maybe too much.
No, Mom. That's why you're here. You're here. Say whatever comes to mind.
Well, it's always an opportunity. I look forward to it.
Well, I'm grateful that you're always in Bible every morning. So I'm hanging out with my mom every morning. She's listening to the Bible, and then you come on and watch chat session. So everybody